And we're live. Welcome everybody to the Hoxton Pete Gold interview.
Hi. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for coming.
I'm delighted to have been asked, and I'm really flattered that you've persisted. I know I've been difficult to get hold of, but I'm delighted to finally be here.
All right, so
Hang on. On a screen.
Yeah, we thought it was an hour ago. We got the times mixed
Oh
up.
no!
my
God!
That's completely
See?
on us.
So we may or may not have simply just hyped up the
Yeah.
stream viewers for a moment.
Just a bit.
We-
Oh no, that's awful. I'm so sorry.
It's fine. It all ended up well.
Modern world and its clocks and whatnot.
Yes. I've been out. I literally only got back in about 10 minutes ago, and I've just been putting my son to bed.
Well, it's a nice time.
Literally, right, no, lights out, and then straight upstairs to boot up the laptop. So, how are you guys?
We've been good. We've been having fun today. It's
Fun?
just quite a bit of an exciting day getting all this support all of a sudden.
Yeah. Yes, I'm sorry about that.
It's not a problem.
Fine.
Quite a privilege, actually.
So, I've seen a bit of action on Twitter about all this, and and on Steam as well. There's a few questions flying around on Steam as well, weren't there?
Yeah, we've
If you
collected
see
for
any
you.
Hogan ones, ignore those.
That was
collected
completely
for
an
you.
accident, but a
Yeah.
happy accident.
Yeah.
So we've collected here a list of our own questions that we've made, and we've also found a whole bunch collected from the community over the past week, and they were really cool in helping out with that.
Yeah, no, it's nice. It's nice. I'm always sort of amazed to see so much interest, really, on all the forums and stuff. I mean, I don't really keep across them all, but it always amazes me how much detail people go into, and what a supportive sort of group of people it is, helping each other out with various problems. And I don't know.
It really is.
The internet can be a really nice place. It seems
It
Yeah.
is.
at its best.
Yeah. And so that brings us to our first question. When you took the role of Hoxton, did you ever think you would get such massive support that there would be petitions asking to bring you in the role again?
No, I didn't. This is absolutely bonkers. I auditioned for the role. It must be like 3 or 4 years ago now, and there was a brief came out via my agent saying, "Here's a script. Here's what they want. It's a violent bank hold-up thing." And one of the things I remember from the brief was, it's going to be high energy, high octane. You must be able to sustain whatever you do in your audition for 2 hours, because the voicing sessions were all 2 hours long. So I did the audition, and the audition was like 30 seconds long. I recorded a little thing, "Get down, motherfuckers," or whatever, and pardon my language, and
It's fine.
yeah, and they went, "Yeah, okay, fine," and then they got me in to record some stuff, and I recorded 2 hours of it, screaming, and then they listened back to it and said, "I'm really sorry, you didn't sustain that well enough. It wasn't loud enough. It wasn't like your audition. You need to shout more." And thus was born the character of Hoxton, really, this sort of shouty, angry Sheffield gangster. And at the time, I had no idea that it didn't really figure. I didn't compute. I didn't think, in 2 years' time there'll be loads of people playing this. And I mean, the fact that there was a thing online saying "bring back that British guy" was just amazing. So no, it's been quite a surreal experience, really, because it just started with I bash out probably half a dozen auditions like that every day, and then this one has taken me on a journey, and it's been fantastic.
That's great to hear that just the community is so tight and loves all the characters so much in the game and everything.
Just so you let you know, there is 647 people here just
For you.
Just for you.
I can't really get my head around that. Hello. That's really weird.
There is
I
just. Oh.
It's just been amazing, and because I remember there was a thing. I was on holiday at the time, and there was a thing went off saying, "Well, why don't you get some downloadable content with Pete Gold in it?" And there was a few people said, "Well, that." I think somebody from Overkill said, "Well, that's all very well, but it costs money to record a voiceover." And then people were saying, "Well, so how much do you charge? We'll club together and pay you." And it was like, It's not what it's about. It wasn't my decision to leave. I don't know what happened, but they just decided to voice it with an American character, and that's that's the way it goes. With voiceover, you're lucky if anyone even tells you haven't got the gig anymore. You keep turning up when they book you, and when they stop booking you, you shrug your shoulders and move elsewhere. So to have people kind of start up a petition, and I remember logging on. I was in a hotel, and we didn't have very good Wi-Fi. I remember logging on to sort of check the forum occasionally, and it would be 1,000 signatures. Come on, guys, we can get this up to 2,000. 2,000 signatures. I'm like, really? Just to get me to carry on shouting in a Yorkshire accent? So, but yeah, and eventually, I mean, I don't know how many thousand signatures the thing got in the end, but they went, all right, okay, this is a goer. Let's bring him back and do some DLC, and it's just astonishing. And I feel hugely flattered that enough people sort of liked the Yorkshire shouting I did in the first place to want to hear more of it. And I've really enjoyed doing this, being a part of this game. I've never really done anything like this, and it's just been fantastic for me.
Just a heads up, when the petition finally closed, I pulled up now, it had almost 9,000 supporters when it ended.
9,000? Holy crap.
Close to 9,000 people signed in support.
That's brilliant. Yeah, you see, I mean, I spent the last 10 years doing comedy sketch shows, and this is the power of the internet, right? I used to do comedy sketch shows, and we would write it and we would rehearse it. There was 3 of us, and we would work really hard at it, and we would take the whole of July off to rehearse it, and we would take the whole of August off to perform it at the Edinburgh Fringe. And if we were lucky, during that month, we would get it in front of between 10 and 50 people a night. So that's maybe 1,000 people if you're lucky. And then and then a couple of years later, we did a little film, put it on the internet, and it got sort of 14,000 views or something in a week. And we're not talking Sneezing Baby Panda here, but that's still a lot more views, if you like, with a lot less effort. And then to have 9,000 people just sort of show that much interest in anything that you've done really is just fantastic. I cannot be grateful enough really to the fans who put that petition together and signed their names to it. I think it's astonishing.
That's really cool.
It's very cool, and this is one of the reasons I set up the Twitter account Hoxton On Demand, because I can't quite remember how that got started, but I think one or two people said, "Oh, would you do my ringtone for me?" And I just thought, yeah, okay, why not, sure. And then I got half a dozen requests, and I thought, you know what, maybe I'll set up a Twitter account and see if anyone else wants to do it. And then and now I get sort of, I don't know, half a dozen requests every day, and I don't. What I should do is do them once a week, and I've been a bit bad about that. And now I do them once a month, and it works out like 100 odd clips a month. And I sit down and I do them all in an afternoon. But I just sort of feel like it's a tiny thing that I can do to say thank you to all the people that showed me that much support. I don't kid myself that it's not, the support kind of isn't for me, it's for the shouty British guy, you know what I mean? I'm not being modest, but I think there's loads of British voice actors that could have done what I did, and I was just lucky that it was me and that people liked it. So I kind of think a little way of paying the community back is to do the Hoxton On Demand stuff, and it makes people very happy just to say, answer your fucking phone. Do you know what I mean? I get a lot of you got a fucking text message, that sort of thing.
God, that was amazing. Like, just the fact that you can do that, just
switch it on.
Yeah.
Well, I was brought up in Sheffield, and I probably had a tiny Sheffield accent while I was growing up there, and then I moved to London and probably lost most of it really. So, but it's just going. I just go back to my childhood, basically. And add some swear words in.
So you've also done a lot of stage work, kind of like you started in the producers recently, correct?
Did, yeah, an amateur production of the producers, but my goodness, it was the level of it was professional. It was a fantastic production, and my wife directed it. And it was just fantastic being in that together, because we don't get the chance to work together on stuff really very often anymore, particularly since having a child. And we had to rely very heavily on very kind friend around the corner for doing some babysitting. But yeah, and that was a hell of a ride, really. And the cast were amazing. It brought people in from far and wide to audition for that show because it's such a great show. And we had a professional set, we had a great band, we had an amazing cast, fantastic director, and it was just really great fun. But so I'm not trained, but I enjoy treading the boards. And the local Amateur Dramatic Society has been running for 70 years.
Wow.
And is very professional in its approach and always puts on very high quality productions. And so that's a nice opportunity for me to do that kind of thing. That's my kind of stage performance outlet. Although, I'm really lucky with my job because I still get to perform every day in front of a microphone with kind of no pressure, no adrenaline, no live audience eyeballing me. It's kind of all the good bits about performance. It's all the showing off bits about performance with none of the kind of terror that normally accompanies it.
Right. Do you have a favorite form of working, like in the booth behind a mic, or you did kind of cover it a bit there? Like, there's not as much terror in the studio as there is up on stage.
Well, there's different. It swings and roundabouts, I guess. I used to do sketch comedy, and I enjoyed the teamwork element of that and the camaraderie. And I used to work solo and do comedy songs, and I enjoyed the sort of free creative reign, I suppose, involved with that. And then the amateur dramatics side of things is just a chance to get to do big shows on a big stage with fantastic people. And let's face it, these are roles for which I would not normally be cast. In the West End or on Broadway, they would not cast a 42-year-old guy to play Leopold Bloom in The Producers. So in amateur dramatics, you can get away with a lot more. But I absolutely love showing off in a cupboard behind a microphone, and that's what I get to do every day. It's just the best job in the world.
I'm gonna bring something up right now. I've been watching the stream chat, and as soon as you mentioned you have a wife, the stream exploded, saying that we should bring in your wife as a new heister.
Oh man, that would be cool.
It'd be interesting.
Would love that. There's some female heisters in the game now, though.
There is. It's Clover.
Yeah.
There's Clover, and then there's gonna be Bonnie.
Irish.
Right. The second one's coming out next month.
Is that right?
Probably.
So we have it. Do we have a? Oh, okay. I won't say anything just in case it's a spoiler. But no, I like the fact that they've expanded the characters, and there's a lot. They've really put a lot of thought into the characterization for this and like their backstories. And I don't know. I mean, this has been an eye opener to me because I'm not a gamer, and I've come to this whole thing quite late, and it's been interesting for me to see how close to the world of movie making, video game making now is. Because the last time I played a video game was probably, apart from helping my son out with Skylanders, the last time I played a video game was probably 15 years ago, really. And my God, it's come on since then. It's a whole different world now.
Yeah. It's amazing how the character roster has grown, because back in Payday the Heist when you first started, there were 4, and now, as far as we know, like you said, there may be more in the works, but as far as the public knows, there's going to be 9.
Right.
And
Yeah, that's a lot more, isn't it? That's just exploded, really. And I really think it's a very rich environment. This is not just about wandering around buildings, shooting stuff. There's there's a lot more to it than that.
Yeah, there's all the character dynamics and stuff.
Yeah.
Character dynamics, skill trees, and
And that
other
brings us
fun
to a
things.
community question. Community user Rudy asks, not counting Hoxton, do you have a favorite heister in the Payday universe?
No, it's got to be Hoxton. No.
And along that note, do you have a most favorite line to say and a least favorite line to say?
Well, there's the one from the Hoxton breakout video. It's the fucking Payday motherfuckers. That one was quite fun to do, and that was. I mean, I really enjoyed doing that because that was a bit of lip syncing, and that's quite unusual. I haven't done a massive amount of lip syncing before, and the guy Josh, wasn't it, the actor, did a fantastic job on that, and I just. It was really great fun doing all the lip sync. It was the closest I've ever been to being in a movie, and and that was great. I've gone off question, haven't I? Really, but that was so. My favourite line was probably that one. And no, I don't have a. Oh, do you know what? Probably this is very stuffy of me, but probably my least favourite line. There's one that has the C word in it, and in my 20s, I didn't have a problem with that, and now I feel like I have a bit more social responsibility, and I shouldn't be broadcasting that word. But no, I don't have a least favourite line to say.
Do you have any memorable experiences ad-libbing any lines? Not just for Payday, but for any production you've worked with?
It's quite rare to be asked to ad-lib anything. In most voiceover work, everything is heavily scripted, and there's been 6 clients present at the focus group meetings, and it absolutely has to have a full stop here and a semicolon there. So ad-libbing is not normally part of the game. But for this, it was, really enjoyed the ad-libbing, because some sessions I've done recently, it's just been 50% ad-libbing. There's been a vague gist of what the character has to achieve with this line, but you make up some stuff that sounds appropriate to Hoxton. Go. And so I've really enjoyed that, and introducing the world to various, well, I don't know if they're Sheffieldisms particularly, but they're sort of quite unique British colloquialisms. Yeah, like, I don't know if there's many people that use the word twat in the States much. Or like, what else did I say? Numpty, or like,
That's one you don't hear.
It, or quite, some interesting words from my childhood playground. So I've enjoyed the ad-libbing. That's been great.
Here's a question up here. This is from one of the viewers, Train59, asking, did you know any reason why they decided to remove you from the second game as a character until much later?
No, I really don't. Nobody's ever told me that, really. Not that they should. It's nobody's job to tell me that.
It's understandable.
It's just one of those things. My take on it, and I'm really guessing here, is that the first game was produced by, they were quite a small
company,
independent company, and then the whole thing was taken up by a big American distributor. And I'm just assuming that the big American distributors were uneasy with having this weird foreign accent in the game, and maybe wanted to play.
Weird foreign accent. They've got Wolf.
I don't know. I just think maybe they just sort of went, "Oh, I don't like that guy's accent. I don't think people will understand it. Can we revoice him, please?" And that's that's an understandable decision, and. For whatever reason they took that decision, I'm sure it was a perfectly sound bit of reasoning, and no one could have predicted that 9,000 people would go, "Hang on, we like the strange, shouty, sweary Sheffield guy." And so I don't know is the much shorter and more interview-friendly answer to that question.
Aye.
And so this kind of relates to that. Community member Abomination Jones asks, how does it feel to be working with Overkill again, and do you like the direction Hoxton's personality has changed a bit between games?
Yeah, I quite like it. He's a bit. My perception is that he's kind of hard bitten and a bit more sarcastic, and he doesn't trust anyone anymore. And there's a lot of sarcasm in a lot of his lines.
Yeah, he's definitely a lot more aggressive and paranoid in a lot of his lines.
It's a bit more like every man for himself. He's not quite so chummy anymore.
Yeah.
But I've loved working with Overkill, and Simon Vickland there is just the best director to work with. He's so much fun. He's very acute, and he's very on it, and there are thousands and thousands of lines to be recorded, and it's all on this enormous spreadsheet. I've never seen anything like it. So he's really well organized, but he's also very sort of creative and very laid back, and there's no clock watching. It's just kind of like, go have fun, play with the character. We'll just let it roll, and we'll record everything. And then they have the mammoth task of taking it all away and chopping it up into tiny bits and dropping it into the appropriate sort of trigger points in the game. So it's been fantastic working with Overkill. I'd work with them any day on anything.
So that's kind of the answer to another question.
All right.
Community member Psycho Dad asks, if they ended up doing a second poetry contest, would you be willing to come and do the voiceovers for the winners of that, like you did with the last poetry contest?
Of course I would. Love it. I'm up for anything. Yeah, it's all It's all good, yeah, definitely. Whatever they'd ask me to do, short of saying the C word, I would. No, I would gladly come and do that, of course. Yeah, I did see something about that on Steam, actually. Yeah, I would. In fact, it tickled me because somebody said, "No, no, no, that wasn't Pete Gold reading out the answers for the first poetry competition. It was someone else doing a quite good impression." And it was me. But I'm glad I did a decent impression of myself. I'm pleased about that.
And going back to what you were saying, how Simon sometimes prepares these massive spreadsheets for you, community Steam user Titan asks, approximately how long do you think it took you to record all of your Payday 1 lines?
If I looked at my diary for that year, I'd be able to tell you with some certainty, but I think it was about 8 hours, something like that, and it was done in... I can't quite remember, but I think we did the first chunk in sort of 4 hours. We did a huge session, and then I couldn't speak for 10 days after that. I literally shouted myself hoarse, and so, in fact, I was voicing it standing up because I think you get a better result if you can jump about a bit. Really, you can get into character more. So I voiced it standing up, and I was shouting so hard I began to see stars, and actually had to sit down so I didn't pass out. So. After that, I said, "I'm really sorry to be a diva, but can we make sure the recording sessions aren't more than 2 hours long?" And then it was fine. That was perfectly workable sort of solution. But I think it must have taken between 8 and 10 hours. Sorry, these answers are very long, aren't they? Shall I make my
No,
answers
it's perfectly fine.
No, it's fine. The chat just loves this. They love hearing all this stuff from you.
If we asked you to be anything but yourself, would it really be an interview of you?
I don't know. But no, good. These are good questions. Keep them coming.
Community user Kleiner Bear asks, if you were a real life criminal, would you steal any type of car, and which car would it be?
Question. I am so not a petrol head. At the moment, I drive a beat-up Toyota that's about 12 years old. So I would steal any car that's better than that. Yeah, I don't know. Look, I'm probably due for a midlife crisis, so why not? I would steal an Audi TT, or so I'd steal a sporty little number and go off and have fun for an afternoon in that, probably, and then trash it and go back to driving my Toyota.
We did that car heist.
I noticed that a lot of the people in the chat are asking, what was it like to be dealing with Houston in the way that Hoxton did, speaking with him in such an aggressive tone at nearly all of his lines?
Voicing session, that's when I get to be super vitriolic and ultra rude. And some of that's been improvised as well. It's just like unleash whatever vile swearing you can come up with. And so yeah, I enjoyed that. It's kind of therapy, really. These sessions are quite therapeutic. You can let out all your anger and anxiety about the world in 1 2-hour session in a voiceover studio.
And that kind of ties into our next question, which is also related to the character of Houston. Hyper Bunny asks, do you actually dislike Houston, or is that just part of the character?
That's just part of the character. No, there's oh god, I feel bad. I can't remember the guy's name. He's he's a very accomplished voice actor, actually. The guy who did it, and he's got I've looked him up. I've stalked him on IMDb, and he's quite an accomplished actor, I believe. And no.
The voice actor for Houston is Derek Ray.
Yeah, right. I think I follow him on Twitter. I'm not sure he follows me, but that's fine. And no, I don't begrudge him at all. He's like any voice actor. He was picked by someone to do a really fun job and get money for it, and then of course he went and did it. Of course he did. No, there's no ill will there at all. That's all part of the game.
So obviously voicing for a video game is a bit different than some other projects you work on and stuff.
Yes, definitely. And this is, I mean, I haven't done a lot of video game work at all. I did a PC game in about 1999.
Yeah, you were Robin Hood, right?
That's right. I'm the voice of Robin Hood in this old PC game, Robin of Sherwood, I think it's called, or Robin Hood, possibly. And that was fun. That was a very different experience because I think they were quite they weren't such a small indie bunch. They were they wore ties, and and so I seem to remember that was a question of going in, delivering the line. They had a piece of software that would deliver a beep. There would be text on the screen. You say the text in between the two beeps. If your text is too long, you do it again, but quicker. And as soon as you've accomplished it, you move on to the next bit of text. So that was much more of a sort of sausage factory way of doing it. And then I stuck around and watched the next guy do it. And I am going to have to go away and look up his name because he is brilliant. And I'll come back to you on that one. I just watched this guy leap in and out of a dozen different characters, and he was just fantastic. Simon. His name's Simon. He's amazing. I'll come back to you. And I just thought, God, I want to be able to do that. And I'm not a character voice, I can't do that. But I really enjoyed doing video game stuff, and I would love to do more. I've got one or two characters in there, and I have a video gaming showreel on one of my website profiles, which I really enjoyed putting together. But video gaming is very different from any other line of voiceover work, and most of what I do is documentary narration or independent local radio commercials, shouting about a local secondhand car showroom, or TV promos. I do a lot of that at the moment. And what's great is that every job is completely different and unexpected and refreshing and educational, and I just love it.
That's great, and actually does answer one of our next questions, which was, would you do another video game if offered?
Yeah, too bad. I'd bite someone's hand off. Yeah, I have. I mean, I am trying to push myself in that direction a bit more. It's a very competitive market to get into, as you can probably imagine. But I feel like I now, having done Hoxton, I feel like I now have more stuff to put on my showreel. I've got, do you know what I mean? I have a much more credible kind of proven track record in that regard, and I feel like I have I should be able to get my feet in a few doors now, hopefully, and get some more video gaming work, unless people might think, no, he's too heavily associated with Hoxton, he could use him for anything else. But that's the way it goes. But it's been, honestly, Payday has just been kind of a lifetime's ambition. It's a box ticked, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You got it on your bucket list. You got it checked.
Yeah, exactly. Voice a character in a video game, tick. It's fantastic. If I never do another video game, I will still die happy. Simon Greenall is the name of the man I am trying to remember, and he is, I'm terrible for not having remembered his name immediately, because he's a genius and does loads of voiceover work. He's a brilliant character actor, and he's probably best known to people in the UK, at least, for being the bellboy in the Alan Partridge series. I don't know if Alan Partridge is big in the States, but it's a very British comedy. The Steve Coogan is the front man for it, and Simon Greenall had a brilliant part in that, where he played a Geordie. He was a Geordie lift boy, and he always had something to say and some way of passing the time with Mr. Partridge in the lift and making inappropriate comments. And I watched him work, and I just thought, he has got a million characters in there. He does kids series, he does loads of kids series, he does all sorts of animation. He's never out of work, Simon Greenall. Amazing bloke.
Nice. So, that's pretty much it for our questions, but of course the chat is buzzing at any given moment with questions for you. Here's a good one. Would you like to use your Hoxton voice or do you use your Hoxton voice, for any other characters, or is it just like this one character,
just in
it
public?
stays here?
No, do you know what? I don't really. I occasionally, actually quite often, I get asked to use a Yorkshire accent. If there's a radio commercial or whatever that requires a Yorkshire accent, then I quite often get booked. And I struggle sometimes not to let it become too Hoxton, because you wouldn't trust a bank that had Hoxton as its voiceover, would you? Or a firm of accountants based in Leeds. You don't want Hoxton to be the voice of that, so I try and rein it in a little bit. But
Put my money in there as soon as possible.
You will never see it again. No, so yeah, I try not to be Hoxton, but I do get asked to be from Sheffield quite a lot, and I enjoy doing that.
Nice. The community user Mercury X from the chat is asking, do you know if there are any lines that you were really proud of that ended up getting cut for some reason?
No, do you know what? I don't, because, and this is a terrible admission, because I'm not a gamer, I don't really get to see what lines get put in and what get dropped. I got a feeling they use most of what's recorded because they like this rich kind of texture of stuff, and there are so many different opportunities to use the material in different circumstances. Like they'll have, they go, okay, in this scenario you've been shot in the leg, so you're a bit injured but not too badly, you're mostly angry with the people around you but you're not in too much pain. So, there's that kind of direction going on. So if I'm recording like 2 or 3 different takes of a certain line, chances are that if they don't use it in scenario 1, they'll use it in scenarios 2, 3, or 4. Right. So again, a very long, verbose answer to a simple question, but no, there's nothing that I've gone, oh, that's gold, I hope they use it in the game, and then discovered they haven't. I trust their artistic editorial judgment. I'm sure they only use the best stuff.
So you've done some amazing albums like Hobbledehoy, and chat user Philiax asks if you intend to do any more of those soon or in the future down the road a ways.
Yes, yes I do. I just need to write some more songs. There's Hobbledehoy, and there's also Live and Leftover, also available on iTunes and Amazon and all the usual outlets. And that's sort of a compilation of various other bits and bobs that didn't really quite make it onto the album, and some live recordings. And so, yeah, 2 albums isn't a great deal to show for 12 years on the stand-up comedy circuit. I don't think I never really worked hard enough at it. I used to tinker with it, and I enjoyed doing it. And I still want to write comedy songs. I still work on bits and bobs of comedy with my comedy partner Nick Swift. And we're hoping to put out another comedy video. We've done, I think, a comedy video every 2 or 3 years for the last, 10 years or so. And there's plans afoot. So even though we're both hardworking dads, we still like to get together at weekends and mess about and show off. So watch this space for that. And then, some more comedy songs in the future.
That's great.
Definitely.
There's a question up here from a user named Goodstone2. He's wondering how you reacted when you found out about the Hux HUD modification and the fact that they asked you to do a line for when it was activated anytime in the game.
Do you know what? I'm not quite sure what the Hux HUD modification is. That's a terrible admission to make, isn't it? Tell me, lay it on me.
Okay, so it's kind of complicated. Essentially, a heist starts, you do Hux HUD initialized in your amazing voice.
I remember voicing that, yes.
And then...
Thinking, what is it?
And then basically it modifies Payday 2 to display extra information that ordinarily wouldn't be on the screen.
On something called a heads-up display, or a HUD, which was part of the end of the Hux HUD.
Oh my god, this is beginning to make sense.
Like, Hux HUD displays your kill counts. You normally would never see that until you finish the heist, but thanks to Hux HUD you can see it the whole way through.
It shows how many of the police or the guards have spawned and are on the map at the moment.
It shows how many people you can tie down, how many police are going to be coming, when they're coming. It shows all kinds of extra stuff.
A lot of information.
How many times you've died.
Yeah, it gives you the behind-the-scenes kind of stuff that you wouldn't normally
see.
That you just have to kind of figure it out as you felt the pain of bullets through Payday 2. So
this is amazing. So forgive my ignorance. Is this essentially a hack that someone else has written, or was this written into the...
This was originally simply just a mod for people to use. Later, though, Overkill decided, hey, we like this, we're going to make it so that you get achievements while you're using this.
That's not
brilliant.
It's not technically a hack because
it doesn't change the game into an overtly overpowered way.
It just gives you
information.
It
makes it easier to keep track of things.
Yeah, it doesn't make anything unfair towards the enemy. It doesn't give you advantages.
Not like infinite lives or anything like that.
No.
Right.
But this is it's an officially sanctioned bit of the programming that was written by Overkill.
Aye.
Shows you what I know about it, doesn't it? Really, that's a terrible admission to make. No, well, that's what a fantastic invention. Are there other wolf HUDs and other?
It'd be interesting to find out.
There are lots of different HUDs, but Hux HUD is by far the most well-known and most developed.
And popular.
Yeah.
Oh, brilliant. Well, then my reaction is that I'm delighted, and I didn't even know such a thing existed. I just think it's amazing what they can do, and I love the fact there are all there's games now that are just written by, that everyone just clubs together and writes a game together.
Mhm.
I think this is wonderful.
Going back to music a bit, chat user GameFreak2350 asks how you liked working with Simon 2 years ago now on the Christmas soundtrack, and then last year on the 12 Days of Christmas.
I loved it. It was brilliant fun. More of that kind of thing, because that's just the ultimate in messing about and showing off. That's, being a sweary northern gangster but singing. What's better than that? No, I loved it. That was so much fun, and I really rate Simon as a musician as well. He's a brilliant songwriter, and my God, he's a brilliant singer as well. He sent me like the demos, and I was like, you don't need me. This is perfect as it is. I said, what are you booking me? It's been great working with Simon on those. I would sing anything he threw at me, no problem.
There's one person who's asking a question, Steam named Elaine Hockey 12. He's wondering if you have ever received advice from Payday or from the producers of Payday that was good or bad.
Oh, tough question. No, I don't think I've had any advice that was good or bad. Apart from, I wasn't shouting loud enough, and that was my own fault for doing an audition that was really shouty. No, I can't think of any advice. Any advice, good or bad? No, I don't think they've ever given me a bum steer. I mean, it's their project and they're in charge of it, and it's not. I was going to say it's a question of doing as I'm told, but it's not really. It's a much more collaborative process than that, and it's I'm given a lot more ownership of the character and the lines and all the improvisation. It's been great, and they've been very receptive to everything that I've suggested, actually. But at the same time, they have a very clear idea about what the game is, what the character is, and where they want it to go. And it's been great working with them. No, I don't. No bad advice. No.
Huh.
Nice. So, user Sam the Fly Dragon asks, of all the different Heister character masks that you've seen, do you have a favorite?
Well, I recently got asked to sign. I think it was an old Hoxton mask actually, because it arrived just before they launched the new one, and a friend of mine was visiting, and he had one of his friends from work had a son who was a gamer, and went, "No way, the voice of Hoxton. Please, will you get him to sign my mask?" So I signed it, and they're quite weird. These things, they're quite sort of rubbery and must be pretty sweaty, I imagine, these masks. But I just think it's great that they've actually engineered these real masks for people to wear while they're playing the game. Mask up, guys! It's great. No, I don't have a favorite, but no, I just like the fact that there are masks official masks that go with this game. I think it's great.
So the chat is gone absolutely nuts. Before we get to that, though, we'll just have one question. Do you ever hang out with the other voice actors from Payday? Like, I know you've spoken with Simon Kerr a bit on your Excellent Talent podcast. Do you do any other stuff with the voice actors?
No, I know Simon is the only one I really know, actually. Howard, I think, did a bit, didn't he? Certainly on Payday 1.
Right.
But no, Simon is the only guy that I really sort of hung out with. And he's great fun. He's hilarious. He's every bit as Howard Thompson did a few bits, didn't he, on the first one, I think.
Yeah.
Simon's hilarious and very kind of gruff. He sounds exactly like his character in real life as well. He's brilliant. So no, I don't get to hang out with any of the other ones. No, sadly. There's three. I think there's three of us from our agency, Excellent Talent, and then I'm not quite sure which side of the pond they sourced the other voice talent from. I imagine a lot of it is stateside.
They're adding more European ones
sense.
now.
No. No, you see, maybe we need a French heister or a Polish heister, or I don't know. The sky's the limit, really, isn't it?
Yeah, there have been a lot more European ones lately. French has been a popular request.
Has it?
Yeah, I actually. I actually saw some things in the chat that was saying, "Hey Pete, do you have any like French friends that would like be willing to do a heister?"
I imagine. I'd have thought so. There's certainly, there's plenty of international language voiceovers on the Excellent Talent website. I'm sure they'd be more than happy to take on the role of, I don't know, Jean LaBeouf, feared Parisian underworld chief. I don't know. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, there's an increasing number of European ones because, as it stands, we've got we've got a Swedish heister, and an Irish heister.
Oh, fantastic.
We just recently got a Croatian heister a couple weeks ago.
Then the next female heister is gonna be Scottish, right?
Shaping up to be Scottish, yeah. So
I understand, yes, but again, if that's not common knowledge, I'm not going to comment further on that. But yeah, I think we need more people from this side of the pond. Quite right.
yeah.
Brits can be bad too.
So the chat really, really, really wants you to say, "Did you miss me, you wankers?" as you did in the trailer.
That was another fun line. Yes. Hang on. Right. I have to shut the door because my son's asleep.
There we go.
Here we go. Did you miss me, you wankers?
That is
He drives
awesome.
off in the back of a pickup truck round the corner.
That was great.
That was
That was great.
awesome.
Actually, that was one of the easiest lines in the thing to voice because I think I know that certainly was towards that point he had his mask on, so at that
Right.
point the lip sync didn't matter.
Yeah, that's the only line of the trailer where he's got his mask on.
Easy. Could have said whatever I wanted then.
I think everyone's glad that you picked that.
No, I think to be fair, I think that was in the script. They had the script pretty firmly nailed by the time I got around to voicing it. But yeah, no, that was brilliant fun, that project.
Certainly looked like it.
It must have been fun to shoot as well. I mean, that was an all-out movie production, that wasn't it? It was a short movie, basically.
Indeed.
The production values behind it these days are just amazing.
It's getting... Also, I've noticed it's probably getting easier and easier, also harder and harder to do these kind of videos. I say easier and easier because it's starting to get cheaper and cheaper for certain things, but harder and harder because the demand and the expectation is so high.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, this is it. Everyone expects. I mean, I just with my comedy songs, for example, it's not enough just to stick those on a website. Where's the music video, man? Take a fortnight off and spend £2,000 shooting a video. Why don't you? And I'd love to. And I just don't have the time or the money. But you're right. The expectation is there. It would be great to do that. But you've got to find the money from somewhere. And I guess Overkill are making it pay for them by producing all this extra content. But it's a gamble. Even for a big company like them, I would imagine it is still a gamble. They've got to blow. I've no idea how much that costs, but thousands and thousands of dollars on making a short film just to publicize some content that they hope people will buy. It's a risky business.
I think that they knew that the people were going to buy that since they'd been asking for it for so long. They were just...
There wasn't any doubt on that.
They could have charged anything for it. We would have just eaten it up.
We would.
Well, I'm glad I'm glad the demand was there. That's great.
Speaking of the fan service and stuff, the chat is just exploding with unanimous praise. They're all like, "Wow, oh my god, he said it." They're just so happy.
Oh, well, that's nice. That's very nice. It's probably on my Audio Boom channel as well, I would have thought. If it's not, it should be. Make a note. I better record that.
This is a good question. Were you nervous going into Payday the Heist at all? Because, have you done any criminal types before that, or was this kind of a new kind of thing for you?
No, it was a completely new thing for me, but as I say, it was great fun. I don't remember being nervous about it. I mean, I've been voicing since about 1999, really, so I sort of know that I can handle myself behind a microphone, and I wasn't nervous per se. It was the difficulty when you go into a new arena of voice work like that is that you have to come across like you've been doing it every day for 10 years, even if it's your first gig. So there's a level of, don't drop the ball, particularly not until everyone's settled in, and you don't want to fuck it up on the first attempt. Really, you've got to impress the client, you've got to impress the engineers, And no, I wasn't nervous, but there was certainly there was a learning curve involved. And I hadn't done any baddies before, and I really enjoyed rather being a bad guy. And as I say, it was quite therapeutic. Oh God, telling loads of imaginary people to get the fuck down and stay still. Who wouldn't want to do that?
Now here's a question from Mother Flowers 007. What was it that made you wish to take up voice acting? What was your first inspiration?
Wow. Well, that's a good question, and has probably got a very long, boring answer. I'll try and keep it short. My brother is a voiceover, but he was a voiceover long before I was, and he taught me everything I know. John Briggs, and he was one of the first station voices on Channel 4 in this country when it launched in '88. I can't even remember, probably earlier than that. So he's been a well-known voiceover in this country since I was still in short trousers, and he wanted to set up an agency round about the time I left university and didn't have much of a clue what else to do. And I wanted to go to drama school and be an actor, and I didn't have the money. And John said, well, why don't we set up an agency? I've got everything in place. All you need to do is come and run it. So I did. After about 2 or 3 years of running the agency, I decided it would probably be more fun to be one of the voiceover artists on the books than it was being an agent finding work for voiceover artists. And I put a demo together. And actually, my first demo got rejected. It wasn't good enough. Try again. And so my second demo, I put a bit more sort of time and thought into. And then eventually John said, yeah, go on, give it a go. And I did. and he's been incredibly supportive, and he sort of helped me. He's given me advice and time and money and expertise, and I wouldn't be where I am without him. And he's been amazing, and we still run the agency together. We're still colleagues there. 18 years later. So yeah, I sort of fell into it, and a lot of people are either actors or broadcasters, and they get into voiceover as a sort of a sideline to their main career. And this for me has been I slid into it from being a voiceover agent, which I don't know anyone else who's done that. So yeah, that's a kind of it was an accident, a very happy accident.
Nice. So a lot of people are asking us to ask you about Killing Floor 2, which is upcoming. Are you familiar with that at all?
I'm not, but I must go and Google it immediately. Hang on.
Essentially, it's zombie mutant apocalypse set entirely in the UK. The whole series stays like it hits home for you, basically.
And
So-
so far as I know,
boring.
only UK actors as well, voice actors.
yeah,
Oh,
It's
great.
like one guy plays the entire cast, I
he
think.
does.
Other than Mrs. Foster
And the robot.
and the robot.
Oh, this sounds awesome. Well, that will be I can see that being a big hit. Basically, if you like Payday, you will like this. I would have thought. Killing Floor 2 announced for the PS4. Click here. Oh my God! Look at the state of him. That looks fantastic. Yeah, that looks absolutely brilliant. It's funny. I mean, London's become sort of cool recently. There's been a lot of kind of London gangster films in the last, I don't know, 10, 15 years, and it seems to be. Previously, the bad guy was British, but they were always terribly sort of conniving and posh, weren't they? And now it's cool to be from London or Manchester or Glasgow or wherever, isn't it? And or Sheffield. And I like that. I think it's great. The world is a global village now, and people in Vietnam can play a Sheffield character whilst shooting American bank hostages. It's brilliant.
So let's see. I'm looking at the chat for some good questions. Did you know any other actors from the Payday series before Payday came to be? Did you know any of these guys prior?
Yeah, I did. Howard I knew, and Simon I knew. But no, I didn't know anyone else. And I knew, because I'm one of the directors of the agency, I kind of knew. I obviously before we take on an artist, we meet them, we make sure that they're nice. It's not because it's not just about having a nice voice; it's about conducting yourself nicely and representing the agency well. And Howard and Simon certainly both did that, so I got to meet both of them and edited their show reels. One of my responsibilities in terms of the agency is to edit all the show reels and make sure the website's kept up to date. So I've waded through everyone's voiceover showreel on that website. There's about 163 artists, and most of them have got 4 or 5 showreels. So that's a lot of stuff.
That's an interesting pressure-filled question there. So there's a series in UK and very popular here now, going on for 50 years. I'm sure you've heard of it, Doctor Who.
Oh, yep.
Doctor Who, yeah.
Yes,
Well,
and
this
one of the
big in the
questions
States,
is,
right?
yeah, very big in the States now. One of the questions from Cursed Helm is, have you ever considered or even thought about trying for a role in that show?
I'd love to, but you have to be properly famous to be to be in that. Do I know anyone who's been in that? Occasionally, it's funny because some of the people that I was on the sort of sketch comedy fringe with, kind of in the last. I haven't really done anything for about 10 years there, but all of the people that were in other sketch groups and we'd be doing the same shows in the same grotty pub theatres around London, some of them are now like proper established actors, and occasionally you get to see them doing these amazing roles on telly and stuff like Doctor Who. And I went to see Paddington a few months ago, with Paddington Bear, the new movie, and with my little boy, and I saw about 4 or 5 people that I recognised from the comedy circuit playing roles in that film, and in another 10 years' time, they'll be playing the lead roles and they'll have their own vehicle, and it'll be fantastic for them. So, no, I think the chances of me ever being anything in Doctor Who are almost nil. Sadly, but great fantasy question. Thank you.
So this is something that's heavily requested. This is more kind of back in the Payday thing. There's the Hoxton Revenge heist coming up soon. We're finally getting to figure out who is the rat and who took away our Hox Delicious from us for 2 years, and we're going to finally take our revenge on this guy. Now, we know you can't say too much about it, but is there anything you can tell the viewers at all? Question mark?
No, there really isn't.
Oh.
I'm really sorry about that.
It's fine. We spoke to Amir about it and stuff, so...
It's an answer I expected.
Yeah.
Okay, this is the 5th time or 6th time I've seen this user say this. I'm going to put it in. This is Crowsog3. He wants to know your opinion on Clover as a character.
Okay.
I don't think I have an opinion on Clover as a character. This is, again, out of ignorance. Remind me about Clover.
Clover is the Irish female heist you most recently added to the game.
Yeah, okay. Now, it's a weird one because I haven't had a massive amount of interaction, and it's funny because the lines are kind of recorded in isolation. And I'm just having a look. Hang on, let's have a look at this. Let's have a proper look at this. Steam. Okay. Oh, whoa. She's that scary. Somehow those kind of masks are way more scary on a girl than they are on a guy. Is that just me? Maybe that's just me. But yeah, she's. Oh no. Yeah. Well, there's my reaction. Is no. She is one scary person. But it's funny because a lot of the lines are recorded in isolation, and very often you'll dip into a scenario and go, okay, in this one, the alarm's just been triggered, there's cops crawling down the walls, and you're providing cover for somebody else. And so I don't really often get very much context as to what's going on between any two particular characters, but I'm delighted there are female characters in the game. I think that's... I think the world of this, I don't know if I'm speaking out of turn here, but I think it's very easy for the world of video gaming, particularly kind of these sort of games, to have a very male-dominated audience, and I think it's great that, female fans and female characters. That can only be good.
Yeah. The series, I know back in Payday 1, kind of received criticism for that, not being terribly diverse in terms of appearances and stuff.
Yeah.
And now we've got characters ranging from different nationalities, heights, and genders and weights and all kinds of stuff. Even age has been a thing. Like, the youngest character is 27, the oldest is 48 now, so it's all over.
That's good. I think that can only be good. I think it just adds to the richness of the game, and it opens the whole thing to a much wider audience. You're not alienating anyone, I think I think that's great. As long as it's not, detracting from the sort of reality of the game somehow. I mean, I don't know. It's difficult to. I think you have to keep everything appropriate to the sort of world of the game that you're in, but I think they've done that, and it's
Right, like you're not going to see an alien land in the street and start shooting up the bank next to Hoxton or whatever.
that would be a different kind of game, wouldn't it?
That would be a very different game.
Those kind of games are out there. That's not what this game is about. But
Right.
but no, I think it's terrific. But and I look forward to further sort of diversification and richness among the characters as time continues.
This is a good question. Have you ever tried to confuse a stranger by just randomly switching into the voice of a character in the middle of a conversation?
No, I haven't, but I know
Bucket list.
other voiceover. Yeah, I should. I'm going to do that. I know other voiceovers who've done that. My brother, for example, was the male UK voice of Siri on the iPhone until quite recently, and I don't think he played tricks using that, but I know he got asked to do that. He was in a BBC Radio 4 comedy sketch show as the voice of Siri, because he was actually the voice of Siri. And he was also the voice of a quiz show, which I think you've got that there as well, The Weakest Link. And he's the guy in the middle that goes, statistically, Janet was rubbish in that round. And he was, quite a very recognizable voice from a peak TV game show. And there was a pub quiz version of the game, like an arcade game in the corner of our local pub. And I really wanted him to lurk up behind the guy playing it and, start quoting statistics at him to mess with his head. He was on a train once where he was on an overnight train reading a book aloud to his girlfriend at the time, and somebody banged on the carriage wall to say, "Stop! Turn the bloody radio off in there!" Because he was such a well-recognised kind of radio and TV voice, they thought the radio was on. But again, another very long answer to a very straightforward question. No, I've never been tempted to, order my fries with Coke as the voice of Hoxton. Maybe I should, but I get better service, I'm sure.
It'd be interesting to do as well, to see who's a fan of the game and actually figures out that you're that character.
On it instantly, like a guy just walks out, like, is somebody playing Payday?
Someone looks for a laptop.
Yeah, I'd have to do it in the right place. I mean, you wouldn't walk into an old folks' home and do that.
Oh,
Not
God, no.
that result you wanted.
Probably just
Might get
confuse everybody.
surprising results there. Sam the Flygon asks, what is your favorite movie and what is your favorite band?
Oh dear, these are not going to be trendy answers, I'm afraid. What do I? Do you know what? I don't feel like I have a favourite band. I think when I was a teenager, I used to have a favourite band, and it was probably the Police. And then I think
There's a little bit of irony there.
Yeah, that is actually. Now you come to mention it. But now I listen to all sorts, really. I probably mostly listen to speech radio, but when I listen to music radio, I just like what I like. And just at the moment, I really admire Ed Sheeran. I think he's he's only a young guy, and he's just the most incredible songwriter. And he seems to come up with the most diverse, different kinds of stuff, and it's so genuine and heartfelt, and much of it very moving. Even the simple stuff is moving in its simplicity. I wish I could have been him when I was his age. I think he's fantastic. Favorite movie? Well, right now I'm probably going to say Big Hero 6, because I've just been to see it at the cinema and it was terrific. I don't have an all-time favorite. I don't know. No, I don't think so.
Nice. This is the good one that's coming up. If you had $1 billion, or whatever the equivalent is for you, what would you do with it? If you were just no rules, no restrictions, just
purchase whatever you like.
All the money, go nuts.
God, I don't know. Well, the first thing I would do is buy a house with an extra bedroom, I think, and because at the moment the cupboard in our spare room serves as my voiceover studio, and we just need a little bit more space, so that when we have guests around, I don't have to tiptoe over their sleeping bodies at 9 o'clock in the morning to do a voiceover session. So I'd take care of that first of all. And then, I don't know, nobody needs $1 billion, do they? I would make sure I was set for life, and make sure my parents-in-law were taken care of, and all my family members, and then I'd go and give a lot of it to charity. I think, wouldn't you? But it always strikes me. It's funny that people used to go, "Oh, if only I had £1 million," and then you look at some of the house prices in London today and go, "Well, that'll only get you 2 bedrooms." So yeah, but £1 billion, I couldn't spend that. I'd have to give some of it away. I don't know, charities. I think, there's hundreds, thousands of charities that could use that money and put it to good use. Kids charities, I think, probably, and sort of cancer charities mainly, and third world charities. There's no end of places that could use that cash. After I've sorted out my house, thank you very much.
I'm sort of surprised that you didn't mention your son getting him maybe a college run through, or just whatever he'd like to do in the future.
Yeah.
Set something aside for that.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I sort of can't count that under the heading of looking after my nearest and dearest, probably.
Yeah,
Sure,
yeah.
cared for. But you're right. I mean, college prices these days. I was very lucky because I basically, the university system in England changed only just as I was coming out of it, and at the time it was mostly free. So it didn't cost me very much to go to university at all. And then they changed it, and now it costs. I think the average debt on graduating now is like £30,000 or something. I mean, that's going to take you a couple of decades.
Hello,
Okay.
Pete. You cut out there for a second.
Did he?
Did I cut out?
Yeah, for me.
I didn't hear it.
I think I was being so dull that Skype actually.
It was just before he finished his last statement. It was just like
No, I basically was ranting about how expensive it is to get to university in this country, and how I'm somehow going to have to find.
Well, that's just a 4-year degree. I mean, if you go for a
Yeah.
doctorate, like the whole 10-year spiel, my mom got hers done. It was around $80,000 she owed.
Yeah, that's a lot of money. You really got to want to go to university, haven't you?
Hmm.
But yeah, I think my boy is probably going to have to get a paper round quite soon.
You gotta start somewhere.
This is a good one. Have you ever been recognized out in public as you're talking? Like someone walks by, hears you, and goes, "Wait, I know that voice."
No, do you know what? That's never ever happened to me. I used to play that game with myself. I used to be the voice of BP petrol stations. I would be the guy on the sort of tinny radio in the corner going, "And that was ABBA. Now don't forget to buy a Ginster's pasty for your dinner, and there's a 2-for-1 offer on cans of Coke this month." and my local shop was a BP garage, so I would go in there and hear myself every time I went in there and snicker to myself. It was a very private joke, really, but nobody else has ever recognised me in public. No.
This question builds on something you might not be familiar with. Do you know about machinima as an art form?
No, I don't. What is that?
It's essentially the taking of using video games, taking those and using them to make videos. There are multiple very popular series out, such as one of them is Red vs. Blue by the team of Rooster Teeth,
Wow.
which has been going for the last around 14 years now.
This is 15.
15 years, gee.
That is a really interesting concept. I was totally this has really been an education, this interview. Totally unaware of it. No, what an amazing thing. This is, it's like pop will eat itself, isn't it? This is everything just sort of recycling everything else. I think it's really interesting. Well, maybe it's a form of immortality. Maybe 100 years after I've died, people will still be using Hoxton in some way, shape, or form. I like that idea.
So it looks like we've got time for maybe 1 or 2 more questions. Does that sound fair?
Sure, yeah.
Okay. This is a nice quick one. What do you think was the funniest the funniest project that you've ever been a part of?
Oh dear, I feel like I should answer this quite carefully. Well, honestly, I think some of the stuff I'm most proud of is the stuff that I did with my sketch group, with the sketch group I was one of the members of in the 90s. We were called Fit to Burst, and I think we wrote some really good sketches, and I really had great fun working with. There was quite a few people involved with it over the years, but latterly it was me and Nick and Simon, and I was really proud of that. I thought a lot of it was very funny, and I don't know. What's funniest? I don't know. I'm quite pleased with some of the songs I've written. I haven't done masses of funny stuff. I'm certainly not that proud of quite a lot of the stand-up comedy I did. I listened back to some of it. I did a one-man show in 2007, and about 2012 I listened back to a recording of it and thought, oh, that was bad. I think the world was quite lucky that I gave up on stand-up comedy, to be honest. But no, I had fun. I had fun trying.
Alright, this might be a quick one to end on. It's kind of anticlimactic considering some of the questions we've had.
And have had requested.
Coffee or tea?
Coffee or tea?
Coffee, tea, or soda?
Coffee
Soda pop.
every time. Love coffee.
Coffee.
Alright, so
I
do we
guess
want to end there
it's-
then?
I guess that's all the time we've taken from you, and
We
something
did
you'll
go
never get
just-
back in your life.
We did go roughly 2 hours over, or sorry, an hour
Yeah.
over. So,
No,
About
I
an
know.
hour and 8
Sorry,
minutes.
the time difference is horrendous. I'm sorry that you fell foul of that. But thank you for having me. I've had a great time.
thank you so much for coming. It was a
It
blast.
was an honor.
Entirely fun just having you here.
Well, the pleasure was all mine. It seems weird, sort of standing in my cupboard, talking to
A computer.
so many people. Thank you everyone for questions and just even showing a glimmer of interest in any of it. Really, it's been great fun. It's just fun. Full stop. Really, I love it.
It's kind of surreal listening to Hoxton like swearing his head off at everybody, and then listening to you like so nice and just the opposite.
Just
of
calm.
Cool-headed.
I don't think I get very far in my career if I spoke to my real life clients the way Hodgson speaks to the people.
Not unless you did his work.
No, you have to at least pretend to be nice when you're doing voiceovers. No, it's been great fun. Thank you very much for having me, and I'd gladly come back anytime you like.
All right, thank you so much.
Pleasure.
Great
Thank
having
you. Thanks a lot. Cheers, you guys.
Cheers.
Thank you.
All right.
And thus ends our interview